Welcome to Behind the Book. Today's guest is Steve Bouwkamp, and we're going to be talking about people taking risks. Stay tuned for more. I'm Heather Andrews, and on Behind the Book, we journey beyond the cover. On each episode, I dive deep into the minds of authors, unlocking the mysteries behind their literary creations. Discover the stories behind the book exclusively here with me. Welcome to Behind the Book. Today I have Steve Bouwkamp with me, and we're going to be talking about people taking more risks. So welcome, Steve. It's nice to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me, Heather.
Excellent. When you talk about people taking more risks, what does that mean to you?
In the workplace setting, I would like to see more people coming out of their shell and being a part of the overall process at your organization. So people taking risks is really going out of their comfort zone and becoming part of the bigger picture and creating value within the organization and for themselves.
And you recently wrote about taking risks in a book called Culture Revolution. So what made you share your story in that book?
I recently got the opportunity to move into a business process manager role, and it's been a great experience so far, but going through and trying to incorporate a lot of new theories that I have within my business with Agile, Scrum, Kanban, all these great project management theories, they're hard to put into practice. So writing this chapter was an opportunity for me to bridge a previous experience as a psychologist, like a psychology degree major, and now this business professional setting, and bring it all together.
Beautiful, I love that. And I know you took a risk yourself, and when we were talking about your original story, when you were writing the chapter, you spoke about being in the trades and then moving over into corporate and what that journey was like. And there was just so many perspectives in there that you shared with me that day. I would just love for you to share with our listeners how that was moving from trades into corporate and also being the young guy.
Yeah.
I love that story. So if you can just kind of dive in there, that would be great.
Yeah, it was quite the journey for me coming out of university, and I'm sure this is for everybody. You come out of university and you think, I'm going to take on the world, right? But then reality hits. There's a lot of decisions to make. And for me, I had to go out into oil and gas just because it was probably the best opportunity at the time. And then as I was out there, I still really wanted to use my psychology degree. And obviously, getting my trade ticket was a great experience, but it didn't really allow any applications of these concepts or psychology, those kinds of things. So while I was out there, I was fortunate to have a really good project manager who supported me and allowed me to move on and also gain some education. I was able to move up in new opportunities through project management and ultimately go back and get my MBA. It was a huge risk because it took a lot of time and effort to have to leave site and return, and it was quite the strain on my developing family, but yeah, it was an interesting journey for me.
Absolutely. And what would you say your biggest obstacle from moving into trades to the corporate world has been?
Biggest obstacle, it's really got to be yourself. You have to believe that you can take that big leap constantly. Because everybody's really there to support you. You don't really realize it until you speak up. Absolutely. So for me, that was something that I really had to come to terms with. Like I said, my project manager was incredibly supportive, and everybody that I've ever spoken to since, they always want to see you come out of your shell and become the better version of yourself. Yeah. But it's really hard to take that leap and ask for that support.
Absolutely, and so I bet you're proud that you did, because your life's probably not the same.
Yeah, and it continues to change every day.
That's awesome. And with that, I know that you have been a mentor for others to do the same. So do you want to just give a little bit of a backstory to how you mentor others now?
Yeah, in the field, I really thought I was mentoring quite a bit, but it was, again, very trade related. And this is a different experience now today. I'm working as a business process manager, and I work within an organization that's a little larger than what I was at before, and I have opportunities to work with so many different people from different backgrounds. It could be the HR group, it could be the accounting group, it could be whatever. And really I'm a solo operation, but I work with everybody.
Right.
And so having that opportunity to reach out and talk to everybody in my organization and try to impart little pieces of knowledge that make their day easier, better, and something that they become more excited about, it's been a good new learning opportunity for me and a great way to sponsor within my organization.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. The next question that I have for you is, it's a great lead in to culture. And I know one of the very first questions that we asked when you started to write in Culture Revolution was, what does culture mean to you?
Yeah, and I just still struggle, right?
Yeah.
Culture, it really takes on a life of its own. So for me, culture is that driving force behind the organization. And I think it's bigger than any one person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it sets all the values and standards of your organization at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, culture is what decides every action.
I love that. And the other thing for you would be, what made you write in Culture Revolution along with the other 12 co-authors?
I mean, really, I was looking for opportunities constantly, as I'm always growing and hoping to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
And so when this opportunity came up to write with a bunch of other industry professionals, and quite honestly, what I would consider as people who are beyond peers for me, but now all of a sudden are, it was an opportunity I had to take on.
Right on.
Yeah.
And what was your biggest learning in writing a chapter in this book?
Yeah, I went into it with this concept. It's gonna be this way. I've got a firm idea. And then I really realized that writing is a journey.
Yeah.
And your concepts change once you start putting all the pieces together. And I also learned that I have more to say than one chapter. So, we'll see where that goes.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And one of the things that I always like to ask is, where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so I have an email, steve@entidine.com, or alternatively, you can reach out to me at LinkedIn.
Perfect, I love that. And what would you say as we wrap up for the listeners who are learning about more culture-based, if they want to change their culture? What would be the one thing that you would offer as we exit this interview?
The big question right at the end. One thing is that while it might seem like a daunting task, every small step makes a huge influence. And really, you got to take that first step to go forward to take the larger grand vision that you want to go after.
Thank you for sharing. Culture Revolution, the book by Anta Solutions that has 13 amazing co-authors in it with all sorts of insights, is on Amazon. So make sure you go get your copy and stay tuned for the next episode for creating organizational synergy. It's been a literary voyage here on Behind the Book. My sincerest thanks to our featured authors for letting us peek behind the curtain. I'm Heather Andrews, urging you to keep exploring the vast universe of literature. Until our next chapter, happy reading.